Hey YouTube, long time no see. It's POD7. Uh, as we're all stuck in quarantine, I thought I would jump on a meme about 6 months too late and do some tier videos just for the heck of it because I saw this Marvel movie, Marvel Cinematic Universe one trending. So I'm going to go in chronological order. So we'll start with Iron Man. The first Iron Man for me is it was good, but I still am not. I didn't like the part where he just comes out and says, "I'm Iron Man" at the end. I thought that could have been saved for the second movie. That's a lot of drama just given away for free, basically. So I'm gonna put that in B. Ooh, I'm scrolling. Okay, next up, Incredible Hulk. Goodness, feels like that came out about 30 years ago. Uh, I wasn't a big fan. Um, just I don't know, just not a big fan. I guess that's all there is to say to it. It's there. Obviously, it helped. It was good enough that it helped spawn the cinematic universe and like prove that it could work. I guess, but I'm not a big Hulk fan to begin with. I like She-Hulk, but um, there's some really good Hulk stories, and then it seems like he goes a long period where he has just banger after banger of stories, and then they just kind of forget about him for a little bit. It's weird, but uh, okay, moving on to Iron Man 2. Hmm. This may or may not be a nuclear take. I'm not sure, but yeah, we're just gonna slide that one in at the bottom there. That movie was trash. Sorry if you liked it, but it was god awful in my opinion. Um, Whiplash was just not an engaging villain at all. Um, Sorry, I got a text in the middle of this. Professional YouTuber right here. Thor is next up. So, gotta find the movie poster for that. Here's the first one. Okay, I think. Yep, okay. Thor 1. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's A tier, but definitely up there with Iron Man. Um, I think if they had known how great a comedic actor Hemsworth can be, I think this would have been a very, very good movie if they had written some more comedy for him to chew through. But um, yeah, it's like I said with Iron Man 2, the villain wasn't really. I mean, Loki is good, but the real fights happen with the big armor, the living armor thing. I forget what it's called, but yeah, just um, and I Natalie Portman is not on my favorite actress list, that's for sure. But she did okay. I really liked. Oh, I forget her other name or what her name is, but she was in Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. Oh, what was her name? I forget, but she was infinitely better in this movie. Um, Captain America: The First Avenger. Let's see. Not that one. Not that one. Oh no, it is this one. Okay. So this first Captain America movie is my favorite of the Marvel universe. I just feel like it's the best movie as well as the best superhero movie Marvel has ever put out. Um, so that's definitely going in S tier. Very godlike. um, yeah, it's it made the most sense for the character, and um, they really made it feel like a 40s movie, 40s and 50s movie in a lot of parts. So I really appreciated that extra mile they went. Okay, the first Avengers. Man, it's been so long since I watched that. Um, I give it an A. I think Hawkeye and um, Black Widow. Black Widow was okay, but Hawkeye really just had nothing to do really with this movie. And I really don't like cinematic Hawkeye at all. He's pretty terrible, to be honest. He's not endearing in any way. Even with the big family stuff later on, it was just kind of like, I don't know. He It just felt like he begrudgingly had a family in a way. Iron Man 3, not as bad as Iron Man 2, which, considering what I said earlier, is probably not that great. But it would be in D tier, except for the last like 10, 15 minutes make this movie so good. So with all the suits flying around and Iron Patriot and all that stuff. So yeah, it's going in C tier. Thor 2, The Dark World. Good lord. Okay. That's yeah, that's a big uh I don't know. We'll go with D because I would probably watch it again uh, if I was in the mood to watch through all of these again for some reason. But yeah, just I liked the Norse world building and stuff in there. But other than that, man, this was a rough movie. Um, so next up we have Winter Soldier, Captain America: Winter Soldier. Fantastic movie. I wouldn't say S because like the first 10 minutes, for some reason, um, they decided the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie had to be a Paul Greengrass movie, and I seriously like I had to close my eyes towards the end of that first segment, just because the cuts were just so fast and all over the place. But the rest of the movie is fantastic. The scene where they're fighting up on the highway and stuff, that's awesome. And of course, the drama is fantastic for a superhero movie. um, Guardians of the Galaxy. So it took me a long time to actually watch this. Both Guardian of the Galaxy movies. I signed up for Disney Plus in January, and I Guardians was like the second thing I watched. So um, watching it in hindsight, because at the time I was really butthurt about Rocket Raccoon not being played by David Tennant. um, but after Bradley Cooper grew on me for sure. So um, gosh, I'll go with A on Guardians 1 for sure. It was very good, very good, very good podcast. Sorry, that's an inside joke. Anyway, next up, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Okay, this is probably outside of Captain America. This is the one I've seen the most um, out of all the Marvel movies. So I'll probably put it at a B. Um, the relationship with Fox and Disney and Marvel holding back the idea of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver being mutants really brought this story down for me. But hopefully going forward, there's some kind of they're able to work in the fact that they're mutants now that they own Fox and all the rights to the mutant stuff. We'll see what happens in WandaVision, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they'll bring back Quicksilver. Um, and of course, James Spader as Ultron was amazing, like incredible. I can't remember if I think this is the one where Captain America like almost lifts Mjolnir off the table, and Thor's like, which I know it's cinematic universe, so it's a different Earth, different everything. But in the comics, Steve would have picked it up easily for sure. Um, I'm pretty sure at some point in comics history, a kid, like a child, has picked it up to give it back to Thor because he had been beaten up and stuff. So it's not about strength of character or anything like that. It's like like if you are worthy, like literally, that's it. If your innocence and purity is like maxed out or whatever, basically. Or you could just be mega strong like the Hulk. Um, Sorry, answering another text. Okay, next up is Ant-Man. Um, so this one, I love Paul Rudd, and I loved him as Ant-Man, but I don't know what it was about this movie. It just was there. I don't I don't really remember laughing that much until like the big fight scene with Yellow Jacket and everything. But the second movie we'll get to later. But yeah, just it was okay. That's the best I can say about it. Captain America: Civil War. Okay, this was a very good film. Uh, the airport fight scene felt like it was its own movie, so I'm gonna put this in B. Um, yeah, everything else in Civil War, it felt like in the comic books there was definitely, I guess because they had more time to flesh it out and more opportunities, because you have dozens of comic books you can work with to flesh it out and make you see both sides of the issue here. But in the cinematic universe, like who in their right mind is rooting for Tony's side here? I can't understand that. Um, but yeah, it was still pretty good. I loved Steve and um, shoot the Falcon in this movie. They were both pretty good, and Winter Soldier, of course, too. Doctor Strange. I love the visuals of this movie, but I don't know. The magic stuff in Marvel has never really appealed to me as much as it does in DC. But and of course there was lots of things that they changed from the comics that they didn't have to. I'll just leave it at that. And so it's gonna go in C tier for me personally. Um, let's see, Guardians 2. All right, so this one is my second S tier. I just love everybody in this movie. Jeff Bridges is, of course, legendary. Um, Yondu is incredible in this movie too. I cried like a baby at the end of this movie. Um, Mantis is really cool too. I hope she has a bigger part in a future one if they ever get to do a third Guardians movie. Um, it's unfortunate what happened with James Gunn and the whole Twitter controversy, but um, I think I think they could work things out and get him to come back, honestly. But because that's a lot of money to leave on the table for all those people that were in that movie. Spider-Man: Homecoming was fantastic. There's Far From Home, and here's Homecoming. Okay, it was a great reboot. Definitely much better than Amazing Spider-Man. Um, he felt the most like a teenager in this one to me. I don't know what it is about Mr. Holland, but he did a great job in this film. Uh, Thor Ragnarok. This is. Where is it? There it is. This is S number 3, and this movie just owns. Like it's fantastic, beginning to end. You got the comedy and stuff with Thor and Bruce, and you got the big action scenes. You got freaking hell in here. It's just and of course, uh, just the visuals all over the place. Fantastic. Um, I'm wondering if this can actually be done again. Like, this might have been lightning in a bottle. We'll see what happens going forward. But next up is Black Panther. Black Panther was an A film. It was a film. um, it definitely engaged me big time. My suspension of disbelief was completely fulfilled, I guess, and it felt like I was watching a well, I wouldn't say a brand new genre of film, but it was very like, wow, hero movies can be so many different things, and this was a very good thing. Um, Looking back on some of the stuff, it's like the logic side of my brain is wondering about this film, but uh, logic brain doesn't really get to factor in on a lot of these. Because if you just look at all of these as a film and not a superhero movie, then yeah, this S rank and a couple of these A ranks are good. Two S ranks here, Captain America and Guardians 2 would be good films. And then everything after that would be like Ragnarok, and then all of A tier would be good movies, and then everything under that would just be schlock, like action schlock, basically. Um, Avengers Infinity War is, which poster was it? This one. Fantastic. The best Avengers movie, in my opinion. Um, just because they went there, like they did that. um, just an amazing. The fact that they had all of these angles going into it and all these characters, and they made it all work was a miracle. I'm kind of sad that they split it into two movies, honestly, because I think the world is ready for a 4-hour superhero movie at this point. We're already paying like $20, $30 to go see these movies, so why not? Um, but it worked out for them, obviously. We have Captain Marvel next. No, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. I saw this at an Alamo Theater in Austin, Texas, and it was awesome. I really liked the variety of characters in this. I loved Ghost and uh, the what do I want to say the way they rendered the quantum realm was incredible. I really loved that part, and just Paul Rudd, the way he works with Mr. Douglas and shoot, what's her name? The lady that plays the Wasp. I hate to do that, but his chemistry with them is fantastic. Definitely worth watching. Definitely an A tier. Captain Marvel now. Gosh, this was. I hate to say it, but I'm putting it in C tier. It's. I'm glad they made it, but there's just so many directions they went. It felt like people like they assigned each 30 minutes of the movie to a different writer, and like they didn't communicate very well or something. It's hard to explain, but the way she assimilates into human society so quickly really bugs me in the movie. So, because she may be human, but she is basically raised by aliens. So, um, yeah, just and the whole thing about her switch being where it is. Yeah, we'll just keep it at that. It's a good film. It's a good movie, superhero movie, but lots of problems in my opinion. Avengers Endgame. Not a huge fan, actually. I'm gonna put this in C. Um, Lots of issues. Of course, time travel always messes things up. Unless it's like at the beginning of a franchise. Like if it's been a part of the franchise the whole time, then you can work with it. But to just slam it in at the end of a 20 film saga is yikes. Um, and the fact that like Hawkeye becomes Ronin, and for some reason they decide to sacrifice. Spoiler warnings here. They Black Widow sacrifices herself for the Soul Gem when he could have just as easily like ran back out to the hallway and grabbed a random henchman and sacrificed him. Like, there's a lot in this movie. um, It'll be interesting to see what the next Avengers movie looks like because you know there's going to be more. But I think it's going to look a lot like Avengers West Coast in a way. But it should be interesting because I really hope they go all in on Falcon being Captain America. We'll see what happens with Winter Soldier still being around though. Spider-Man: Far From Home ends our list here. I actually haven't seen it, so I'm not going to rank it. I've heard mixed reviews. Um, the major thing I've heard being good from this movie is Mysterio, like actually being like realized in a good way on film on screen, which is something that I definitely worried about. Um, Not like worried, but like I was wondering about. So I'll have to get around to seeing that eventually. But in the future, we have Black Widow, currently postponed, I believe, due to coronavirus pandemic. Um, then we have the Eternals, which that's going to be they're going to have to market the crap out of that movie, I think, because yikes, that's a big gamble for them. Of course, a lot of people said that about Guardians, so who knows? Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is going to be awesome, I think. It's going to surprise a lot of people anyway. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness will be. Hopefully, it'll be a huge trip, like like crazy. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully, they. It'd be interesting if they introduce mutants through that and WandaVision at the same time. But we'll see what happens. Uh, Another Spider-Man coming out in 2021. Um, I don't know much about that. Thor: Love and Thunder has gotten a lot of press. That one looks pretty good. Obviously, we're gonna get Lady Thor. Um, Oh man, I don't know. I discussed my feelings about Natalie Portman earlier, and I don't know if she can. Hopefully, it's an ensemble film and it's not just Natalie Portman. Jane Foster is Thor, and she's the protagonist because I don't think they're gonna sell the movie that way. And I also think that the story of that isn't strong enough to carry an entire movie, really. So luckily, they've talked about Valkyrie looking for her queen, which will be pretty interesting. And then Black Panther 2 is going to happen at some point. So that's I don't know where they could go with that one. I don't really know much about Black Panther outside of the Avengers in the comics, so that'll be interesting to see which direction they go there. I was kind of hoping they would lean towards the Illuminati after their first phase, and so we could get like a real World War Hulk story. But with Big Tony meeting us at the crossroads, that's probably not going to happen. um, so yeah, that's my MCU film tier list. Um, yeah, only one F tier, just because I can't stand that movie. If you have any complaints, I'll listen to them. I can't guarantee I'll reply to them, but um, yeah, I think this is a pretty fair look. I mean, everything's above C, all but two are C and above that I've seen. So I think because it seems like the trend on the internet these days is to either think something is the best in the world or complete garbage, and I don't see like that. um, it is kind of interesting to me now that I'm looking at it that two of the earliest movies and also two beginnings of the franchises, like there's only we have Captain America: First Avenger, Avengers, Guardians, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and Black Panther are the only um, like first entries, quote unquote, in their franchises that are in A and above, and everything else is B or below. So um, I don't know what that says about the way they launch new characters, but um, it definitely feels like initial movies for characters have gone downhill since the first three. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't expect a DC movie universe tier list because there's like five of them, and I don't like the only one I like is Shazam. Like just outright like. I enjoyed Wonder Woman, but yeah, the rest of them it would just be nuclear take after nuclear take. So um, yeah, I'll I'll try to think of some other tiers if you want to see other tiers. If you care enough about my opinion on a certain subject, like Mass Effect or Bioware or video games in general, comics in general, whatever, just let me know and I'll see if there's a tier for it and I will make a video. Anyway, this has been POD7 and I'm signing out.